Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the show. Another week or 2 weeks have passed by with lots of news and interesting things to chat about in the Miles and Points world here today. We've got some new guests today we're a little bit excited about with Ed Pizza on the road and lots of other interesting things happening with various other people except for me, still sitting in the same chair I was 2 weeks ago. But a lot of stuff has happened. So we're going to start off with a little bit with Hyatt came back with, has finally come out with a new credit card of this week. And Jamie was supposed to join and he's not here just yet, but we're going to start preparing that for a little bit of a chat. And I have to admit that I was a little bit disappointed when I was reading. There was Brandon Neth over at Finance Bus was putting out some feelers a little bit earlier about the new card and how exciting it was going to be. Some rumors said it was going to be a premium card, and we were all hoping that it wouldn't cannibalize the globalist status, but it turned out to be a business card, and a pretty lame one, to be quite honest with you. It's first of all, it's $200 the annual fee, which is a deal breaker, and no free nights for having the card, not even a category 1 through 4, $75,000, the only one that's a redeeming factor here before it turns into being here's Jamie. Let's bring him on. Jamie, I thought you were going to be on the road.
Well, you're more important, so I decided to.
Of course. Yeah. I am more important. You're right about that. So I just pulled up the sheet. And what's your initial reaction and thoughts on the Hyatt card when you saw it? What?
No, go ahead.
No, I mean, there was some rumors a couple of weeks ago, and it was, people were saying that it was a premium card where you paid more money, like $400 or $500, and had some premium things and all that kind of stuff. And people were kind of a little bit concerned about the cannibalization of globalists, but that didn't seem to pan out, did it?
No. So yeah, I was kind of hoping it was going to be that premium credit card, even if it was, $400, $450, whatever it was. That's what I was kind of hoping it was going to be. But, this business card, I think it's quite a letdown, to be honest. It doesn't even include, a free night. It doesn't include any upgraded status. It's kind of just run of the mill, right? Same thing as the regular. I mean, honestly, less than the regular card. I mean, the one benefit you have to spend, they were touting it at the media event the other day, that you have to spend $50,000 in order to get the 10% of points back. Well, I mean, first of all, they're going to run that promotion regardless, right? And spending $50,000 on that to get 10% back is hardly worth anything, right? I'd rather put that on another card. So, I mean, maybe I might get it for the sign-up bonus, but I'm not going to keep it in my wallet, or I'm not going to put anything on it.
Yeah, the sign-up bonus, 75,000 points, but still, at the end of the day, you're still going to have to pay $200 for that.
Right.
And I mean, there's no upside to using this card on other things. I mean, I know that Hyatt wants to be very heavy duty on the workout things that you get, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But there really isn't any. The 2 points per dollar spent, it's, since Hyatt is an instant transfer partner with Chase Ultimate Rewards, I just don't see the value at all here. It's just a big blah. And
yeah. I mean, the Discoverist thing, I mean, I don't know, you can give it to other people. I mean, I guess if you had a family or something, I don't know, you could give it to them for, some additional perks if they're not traveling with you. I don't know. I mean, I guess that's kind of, a cool concept, but in practicality, it's probably not worth much. And Discoverist it gets you I think it's a 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock checkout. I mean, that's not really worth much.
No, I mean, there is that. So you get 5, right? You can give away to 5 to employees.
Right.
Give about 5 statuses. Discover status is. Let's see here where that's.
Yeah, it's 5. It's I saw your sheet there.
Right. But I mean, at the end of the day, you say 50,000 points. I mean, there's nothing. This is not better than what you can get from the regular card, from the personal card. And I just, and of course, I mean, at the end of the day, you get a little bit better if you want to spend your way to status. You get a little bit better earnings. So it's every $10,000 you spend, you get 5 qualifying ninth versus 2 for every 5,000. So I guess that's a gig that's coming up, but
it's a high annual fee too. Whatever, you can value these benefits at whatever you want. $199 for these benefits, I think, is real.
Yeah, this to me looks like think of it, compare it to the Sapphire Preferred. I mean, it's double the price of that, and there's not 100,000 Hyatt points for signing up for it. Well, that offer just went away this week. But,
you're getting no lounge membership with this, and no priority pass, no. The reserve comes with that $300 travel credit. I mean, I don't know who crunched the numbers on this, but it doesn't even add up apples to apples. Even if you were to compare the two cards, it's $199 is real steep for that.
Yeah, I'm a little bit disappointed to say the least. And they needed a business card, and it's an offering for somebody who doesn't know any better, I think. But for us, I'm not going to get it. I've decided I won't get it. I don't want to pay $200 for maybe. So it's $200. Technically you get 2 nights. The sign up bonus is 2 nights for at the Park Hyatt Vendôme or anywhere else in the world. So it's technically could be worth it for you if you redeem high for the 75K. But that's the only redeeming quality that I see here. The rest is just not a good gig.
Nope.
Anything else on the credit card front that, so we saw the Sapphire.
I mean, we can hope at this point, I think for a premium credit card, I think that's where most people are going to be looking here for future. I don't know, what the plans are of that. It's been on a number of blogs that there was a premium credit card, and I don't know if that was in reference to this business card and it was just kind of false rumors that are out there. But I think that's where we're probably looking next because, Marriott has theirs with Amex, and I think it's only right that Hyatt does explore that. But the one thing that I'm concerned with, and I saw this on another site, is that they've already positioned this crappy card at $199, right? So if they position a premium card at $400, $450, where are the benefits going to go with that, right? Because they've already now made their mark at $200, and it's not good. So I don't know where it's going to go from here.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit strange, and also, but I think that it's not going to be a card. Hyatt is more high end and protects their top tier much more so than Hilton and IHG. Yep. So I don't think you're going to get free Globalist with this new card, even if it's $500. It just doesn't seem realistic to me. Marriott doesn't offer that. They have a couple of roads to platinum status. If you spend some money, you can get. So the Ritz-Carlton card, I think you have to spend $75K, then you'll get it. So technically, if you spend that kind of money on this Hyatt card, you'll almost get up there with that. But at the end of the day, though, they also have another card, I think that also gives you platinum fairly easy. But titanium, there's no avenue to that, and nor is it even close to being ambassador. So I think when Marriott protect this, I think it's more likely that Hyatt will be more protective of the highest level. So then it'll be Explorist, right? And Explorist has some perks. I mean, it's got some confirmed checkouts and all that kind of stuff, a little bit better earning, and that bottle of water and stuff. So you'll get at least mid-tier. But at the end of the day, and also probably it'll have a shorter avenue to Globalist that you maybe
sure. The problem is Hyatt's got that small footprint, right? And so they have to be proactive in what they offer, right? They have to make it, I think, easier to earn status, right? Because sometimes it's hard to actually get it, with the location of their properties. But I'm just thinking to Marriott, I've got the Marriott Business Amex, I've got the Marriott the brilliant one. And so there's 15 credits on each of those. So that's 30, right? So to get platinum at that point, that's a no-brainer, right? You just got to spend 20 nights a year, and that's for the average person. You know, that you could probably do that. And to get titanium, right, that's only an incremental 25 on top of that. So if you're earning what would be normally platinum in a year, you're going to get titanium just by holding those two cards. So if Hyatt were to do a premium card, they've got to offer elite nights.
I think they will, though. I think they will. Let's bring in Kevin here, just on the tail end of this.
Speaking of Hyatt,
hey everyone.
Kevin used to work for Hyatt. He just decided to leave a few weeks ago, so it's fairly fresh out there. And he's also for those who don't know Kevin, he's spoken at several FTUs, and he is on the Points Guys advisory board, where he's telling them you get to tell them what sucks, right? You get to tell them what's good and what's not, right? Is that the story, or come up with?
We do actually. We do reserve a portion of each meeting to talk about what they did right and what they did wrong, and ways to improve it. And ultimately, the idea is to improve the diversity of their content and things like that.
That's good. I like the initiative. I do think that's kind of cool. Before we kick Jamie to the curb here, we wanted to. We were just talking. I don't know how much you caught of that Hyatt credit card discussion. Do you think there's going to be a premium credit card also in the $400 to $500 to $600 range coming out soon, Kevin?
You know, I'm hoping for it. I would love to see something like that. But at the moment, I don't see it coming, at least in the near future. I could be wrong. I'd love to be wrong on that, of course. But I think what they've shown with their business offering right now is that they want to target a certain consumer. And at the moment, people like you, me, and globalists aren't that consumer. They just aren't. They want to capture people who do a lot of business spend. That's why the 2x is uncapped, right? They want to capture people who can spend that $50K to get a points rebate. Whereas, to you and me, something like that doesn't make any sense at all. Right. So I think maybe the market will improve in the future into a state where they can afford to offer a premium credit card. I mean, it's not cheap to offer, unrestricted free night certs or diamond status like Hilton, right, or something like that. But I'm hopeful that day will come eventually. But I don't think that day is today, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I how do you feel? So you agree with us? We both of us agree that it's still, regardless, it's not going to be an automatic globalist card. It's going to probably, I think that Hyatt will protect their top tier significantly. You agree with that?
I agree with that completely. And honestly, I hope they do, because we've seen what happened to Hilton and the slow devaluation of their diamond status, and now instead of breakfast you get like $10 or something like that.
Yeah. Until the next end of the year, we'll see if that holds true or not. But and also I just speaking for I had a city Hyatt Hilton, a city Hilton Honors card back in the day, which came with the gold status, which is, that I call it the breakfast card, because it's like when there's nothing else and there's not a Marriott or there's not a Hyatt, you have it as a backup. And there are some decent hotels out there that you can, every once in a while in places where there's not a lot of alternatives. And I was, and when they left City, I was I don't want another Amex, to be honest with you. I don't want to burn that because it's so restricted how many cards you can have. So I didn't get it. I was like, I'm not going to follow you guys over here because I used it so little anyways. But now we've got 3 events coming up that are going to be at Hilton's. And I was like, I got to earn the points for that. So I did sign up, and I was looking at the 2, and I was like, it wasn't even worth it for me to pay the $450 to get diamond, to be honest with you. I was just, when am I going to use that stuff? I just don't. And that's what you kind of get when you give it away. It's the feedback you've gotten is just that there's too many, it's too broad, and nobody cares. And it's really not that much better than gold, the breakfast card anymore. So, I mean, it's, and that's the bad thing that can happen if you are offering the top tier. I mean, even IHG, which is like handing out. They've never seemed to take away my platinum status. Increments are doing the ambassador stuff there, and then where I pay $200 a year, but they don't take it away. But they have it with their card, but they don't give Spire evens, right? So but I think you can spend your way to Spire on that card, can you?
I actually don't know. I don't personally have that card.
We don't care. I guess now nobody here has that card. No, I mean there are some there are some decent IAG out there. There's some good value around the world from it. I mean, I've just in South Africa, we're just doing the 2 stopovers. When we went to Melinda and I went on our big trip in 2016. We stayed at it was 5,000 points a night at the Intercontinental in Joburg when we were connecting from Kenya to various other areas. We were going to Zimbabwe and Botswana and all that, and we kind of had our stuff at that airport hotel, and it was 5,000 points a night, and it was like $300 a night. So there is value, but it's just every once in a while. But fascinating. Jamie, will let you go. So what do we think, Jamie, last before you go? How about the Sapphire bonus now gone? Is he going to come back? And when?
That's going away for sure. But yeah, it'll come back. I think just not anytime soon. I think if you want it, get it today.
So it's over now. Did they stop it, or is
it's already gone?
No, I think
it's already gone. I think I thought it was gone.
I think you can get it through. I think tomorrow or the weekend or something like that. I think, but it's you're down to the wire on it now.
So what's the offer out that's going to be like 70 probably?
It's 100 now. I don't know. My guess, honestly, is probably. I don't know. I'm thinking lower. I'm thinking probably 50 or 60. I think it's going to be quite a cut.
Yeah, it's 60.
75,000 is probably going to be if it's 75,000, it matches the Hyatt card, right? Because that's direct transfers from there. So, all right, we'll see what happens. Thanks for dialing in, Jamie.
Yep.
We'll see you in a bit. All right, so we're going to chat a little bit, and thanks for joining, Kevin. That's
absolutely.
The last minute thing. We've got pizza flaking on me again this week, and thanks for prioritizing me over your wife's COVID test. That was pretty nice that you were able to do that.
Yeah, no problem. Glad I'm
we're
here.
going to talk a little bit about demand across the Atlantic, and we Marshall and I have had some conversation about demand, how it's looking, bookings, and all that kind of stuff, and it's very shaky out there right now, right? But with the borders opening, the first thing we saw was that the overseas carriers are seeing a decent demand, and we heard from Lufthansa, who let's see, there's an article here that I just found from Reuters that it's soared, and of course it has to do with right after the borders are open, and Lufthansa has a total of 19 gateways in North America, so it's a pretty substantial amount of flights compared to the U.S. carriers, and they saw a big demand in bookings. They saw 800% in the first few days since this happened, and that kind of goes without saying. I mean, Europeans are lining up to come to this chaos.
Yeah.
A little bit crazy if you ask
Personally,
me.
I'd rather go over there, but
Yeah, well, we've been able to go for a while, but there doesn't seem to be that much of a demand for us going to Europe the same way as the other way around. It seems like people are kind of waiting a little bit with that. We saw a little bit in the summer, but bookings across the Atlantic for Americans traveling for the fall when the holiday time is over is very little. So
there hasn't been too much. But I think I read that Lufthansa said that their bookings had returned to pre-COVID levels, and that's a major statement right there. And they also said that their bookings were higher than they were during the same week in 2019, pre-COVID. Right. So that sort of thing is really interesting. I mean, you've got the European carriers advertising these huge demands. You've got JetBlue starting new service to Europe. They just added a second London city, London
Right.
Airport, London Gatwick, recently. So I think it's positive. Uh, I think it remains to be seen whether or not that type of demand will keep up, and if it's just
That's the
a
big
wave of
question.
people saying, hey, I haven't traveled in a long time, let's do something, and it's a one-time thing. I don't know. But I would love to see travel return back to where it was, obviously. One of my friends actually just hopped on a flight about 5 minutes ago to Madrid.
Mhm.
And he actually had trouble getting a hotel room this weekend
Really?
in Madrid. It was sold out, the Hilton by the airport. So there's clearly some amount of travel going on within Europe, at least. So, I mean, right now Asia's closed, so the travelers that would normally go to Asia maybe are looking for other destinations like the US.
Right.
But let's hope for the best.
Yeah, I think that you're completely right when you're saying that it's too early to tell because the business travel segment of all of this is I don't see that sort of demand. And we've got three B2B conferences that we run and that are happening this year. And it's a little lukewarm still and very tough to get people to get on board by going to meetings and conferences and things like that. We went to, I don't know if you're aware, but we run with Rudy Maxa, we run a tour company. And we also have our stage at the Travel and Adventure Show. It's the FTU is providing the stage there to do in these big ones. And we were in Texas, and Dallas is kind of a liberal city. It's not really like Spreadneck Central down there. It's more of a normal place. The hotels, they were wearing masks, and it felt not very different from California, and except for the number of pickup trucks on the roads, there was kind of not really that much of a difference. And there weren't any people there. Like literally it was like 70-80% less people at the show. They were usually like 25 to 35,000 people. And if I don't know what the number is, but it was like tumbleweeds in there. You had Paul Thoreau, which is one of my absolute favorite writers. He's written so many. He's such an amazing writer, and who usually has 1,500, 2,000 people in the audience, and there were like 35 people there, right? So it was
Wow.
it was depressing. And that's the thing. We saw the instant travel, but it seems like that demand was here in the U.S. It wasn't outside. The people, they're going to Mexico, they're going to Caribbean, they're going to Hawaii, and they're going to California, and they're going to Florida for those who like high risk adventures. But at the end of the day, it feels like the European part was not. And when it comes to business travel, I don't know what your impression is, but it feels like a lot of these big companies are just not traveling just yet.
Yeah, I completely agree. Business travel is not where it used to be, and it won't be for quite some time, I would imagine. But I mean, there are some promising signs. American reopened two of their flagship lounges, JFK Miami. So clearly that's targeted towards Europe and South America travel. And then United announced that they're reopening their Polaris lounges, right? And that's the first one opening is in Dulles. So
Yeah, I mean,
travel as
I'm
well.
actually flying out of Dulles on December 2nd, so it'd be
Oh, yeah.
interesting to try that to Europe. And that's a new one, isn't it?
It's relatively new, yeah. I think that's the only one, however, that they've announced that they're reopening so far.
Right. Well, we saw some pictures from on 2 weeks ago. We saw some pictures from Newark, from that temporary lounge that they have. And it was like trench war, right? Like in the Arbonne forest in early 1944 or like late 1944 over the winter. There are people fighting for places to sit, standing around with their laptops and to go have carrot sticks and government cheese from the Reagan era, right? So it was. They're definitely sorely needed, but I understand that these airlines want to be careful. I mean, it costs a ton of money to operate these things, and when the majority, I mean, let's just say I haven't had any issues using my plus points, the things that I'm doing, or
Yeah.
even system-wide, American system-wide, even how they are, very conservative right now. So it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, no, I think we are. There are still some good fares out there for sure to Europe, and while we're waiting for Asia to open, so this is a good time for doing some Christmas markets.
Yeah.
COVID numbers are coming down. They're insignificant in Europe, and if you have your vaccine, it's pretty straightforward to get around. You need a test to get back into the country for now, but in Europe you don't, as long as you're vaccinated. So most places. So I think that's progress, and I think it's safe to say that there are some good deals, and people should take advantage.
I agree. Yeah. If any listeners are considering going to Europe, now's the time to go.
Absolutely.
I don't think there's any better time than the present. I myself am thinking about going for a ski trip later this winter.
That's the thing. There's a lot of good skiing, and I will tell you, there are some seriously good prices in both Austria and Switzerland right now. Normally, the W Verbier is usually $1,000+ in high seasons, and it's down in the 3s and 4s. That's one example, and plenty of award availability, and also some of the other, even Hyatts have hotels up in the Alps now from the small luxury collection hotels.
That's
so,
LH,
so there are some good options up in the mountains with using miles and points, and it could be a good play for the. And also for the Park Hyatt in Paris, if you want to go check that out, if you want to go to Zurich and all that, there is so much availability, and the prices are so low for hotels. A couple of good gems, the Andaz in Vienna, for example, opened 2019, and it's literally across the street from the central station. So great location if you want to hop on the subway into town. I booked that for the 5th of December for 120 euros or something ridiculously low for
great.
a weekend during the Christmas markets, which is, I'm going to go check that out because, and normally also I've, found in the Park Hyatt and during Christmas markets in Vienna, 600, 700, 800, 900 euros because of high demand, but I was able to find it in the 3s. But that I haven't stayed at that Andaz. Did you ever stay there?
No, I haven't. I actually, I had a booking to go there right before, right after COVID.
Right.
It was like, I think June of last year of 2020. So obviously that didn't happen, unfortunately.
Right. No, it's a great location. It's not like downtown. It's not like like the Park Hyatt, but since it's like literally when you take the airport express train from the airport, you walk outside of the station and it's right there. So I think that in the subway system and it costs like €4 a day or €6 a day or something. You go unlimited in Vienna. So it's the way to get around. It's warm down there, warmer than on the strip in the winter, and it covers everywhere, and it's very fast. So.
I think the last time I was in Vienna was with you for Megadoo.
Oh, for the Megadoo.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, we're actually just about ready to launch a One World Megadoo.
Really? That's actually very interesting. I'll be the first to sign
up.
It's not
going to be on U.S. soil though, but there's going to be Eastern European planes, not the one we're going to be on, but they will be involved, so it should be a good gig.
Interesting.
So stay tuned for that. You heard it here. Heard it first. Here,
breaking news.
Yeah, breaking news. That's the first public announcement we've had there, so it should be fun.
I'll be excited to join.
The idea came from one of the list. We had a Megadoo. We sent out an email to everybody that's been on a Megadoo before. We had a big Zoom meeting here, right before the Delta wave started. We were ready, and of course we had to. The airlines and are just really, really scared about writing contracts and having events when it's not both visually and risk wise. It's good. So. Yeah. So I feel optimistic. I think that we'll see. This is the time to take advantage of some good offers, and I think that's the takeaway there.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks so much for joining, Kevin, and I appreciate you taking your time. And all the best to your wife. I hope she's negative.
Sounds good. Thanks, Tommy. Thanks for having me.
Sure. Bye. All right. So every time I get Traeger on the horn, I think about the Old Carolina, that because you're in the Carolinas, right?
This is true.
Right. And that is that vodka?
No, it's water.
It's water. Okay, there you go.
Yes, it's not vodka hour yet.
It's not vodka. It's not Montrachet time just yet.
No, definitely not.
So what's happened in the world of casino and gambling lately? You were up in Atlantic City. How was that?
It was great. Everything is pretty much so back to normal, which is nice.
So the hookers are back, and
everything's operating the way it was. It's crowded.
So how does
New
that
Jersey.
work though? Would you wear a mask when you solicit a prostitute, or how does that work?
I don't know, Tommy. I haven't really dived into.
Better look into that. Figure out.
Yeah, it's something we'll have to look into eventually.
Right.
But
so
no, everything is.
And you were on the radio, so the local radio up there, ABC, I think it is. Is that what it was?
Yes, 77 WABC.
There you go. And ABC,
Radio.
they've got Rudy Giuliani has his own show there, and he was on the night show right before you, huh?
Yeah, exactly. He was my opener, so I can say that he's just like you were my opener
Rudy
here.
Giuliani open. The America's mayor opened for Michael Traeger. That's awesome.
Exactly. That's what you have. But it was a very nice trip. It was great to be back. The VIP lounge is great. Borgata's doing a pretty good job at the property. No complaints. I went on the Sun Country charter, which was run extremely well. It's only an hour and a half flight from Charlotte, so it was really
nonstop to where you need to be, and nothing kills it.
Yeah, and the neatest thing they did, and I might have mentioned this, they want to get you to the casino right away. So basically, if you check a bag, they deliver it to your suite directly. Yeah, and it worked. So it was pretty nice. I went for a shave, and by the time my shave was done, the bag was inside my room. So I thought that was, and actually, it's probably smart for them to do that for a number of reasons. A, it gets everybody they can get everyone to the casino. They don't have to waste time getting their bags.
Right.
It's also probably better with some of the older people who, schlepping their bags. It's really nice to not have to do that.
Getting older.
Exactly. So except I was the only Ramoa, I think.
And you also, if the IRS is watching, I saw you also won some money.
No, I lost money on this trip, definitely.
You do realize you post the pictures of those machines with thousands of dollars on them, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, you need to have bullets. That's what we always say in gambling. You need to have bullets. If you don't have bullets, you can't play.
There you go.
Bullets are the bankroll. I mean, the big news, and we just did a live stream on this because Monday was such a weird day on the internet, is that Cosmopolitan has been sold. Blackstone has sold Cosmopolitan for a total of $5.65 billion. The interesting thing about it, they bought Cosmopolitan. Blackstone's an investment company, as we know. I'm just saying that for anyone listening who doesn't know. They bought Cosmopolitan for $2.2 billion, and they invested, plus an investment, and they turned it into $5.65 billion. I think it was about 500 million investment. So they did pretty well there. I mean, and everybody knew that Blackstone was eventually going to sell it because that's what they do.
Yeah,
that's so it's interesting. MGM, there's a little bit of complicated stuff which is not that interesting to talk about with the way they deal with the land and the licensing. But at the end of the day, MGM is going to be operating this property. Sort of interesting because go along that strip area. You've got Aria, you've got Luxor, Aria, Bellagio, Park MGM, you've got Mandalay Bay, you got everything, and then all of a sudden you get to Cosmo, and that was an MGM property, and then you get to Caesars. So now they have Cosmo, so they have another property next to their others. Yeah. It's going to be really good for M Life people because M Life people now will get access to Cosmopolitan, which is one of the premium properties on the strip. I mean, I would go so far to say, when you ask me my favorite properties in Vegas, I say Wynn, Cosmo, and Four Seasons.
Right.
Are the best luxury properties. Whereas Cosmo has the best location and the best vibe, right? Four Seasons is the best for like exclusive but still close to some of the action. And Wynn is just Wynn. They just do everything right. So it's interesting.
So how is it compared to the Plaza? Let's wrap up with that today. How is it compared to the Plaza, where we're going to have our big party on December 17th?
I think the Plaza is great, but it's a mid-market property. It's a different, someone was asking me if you had to compare the Plaza to the Strip.
To the D. If you compare it to the D, how is it?
I think it's a much better property than the D.
More quiet? If you don't have the band
it's just different. I mean, there's a little bit of a trivia thing that's interesting there. So their most recently renovated rooms are the Luxe rooms. Right. And those Luxe rooms are actually the furniture that was liquidated from Fontainebleau. So there was a project in Vegas on the Strip called Fontainebleau that has not been completed. It's still sort of in limbo, and they actually bought the furniture. So the furniture is really, really nice in their Luxe rooms. They've done a great job renovating the casino floor. Oscar's, great steakhouse, and what's cool about our dinner is we have it in like a speakeasy, like a secret room at Oscar's. So it's a cool old school property. It's also their 50th anniversary, which is pretty amazing. So, and they're very involved in Zorkfest. Everyone up to the CEO is just very involved. And we have points challenge and all kinds of things. So I think it's going to be a good weekend.
What can we expect? We're almost out of time, but I want to chat a little bit about the event in December. So that'll be the first frequent flyer event in person. You beat the FTU. We were supposed to have it in Dallas, but the appetite was just not there, with Dallas and all that other stuff. And so we had to postpone it until April. So what can we expect? So except for me being there. Except for us.
I mean, I love, one of the things I try to emphasize with the crossover sections. So basically, we're going to talk about casino apps, tips and tricks on how to maximize awards. So basically, how to leverage online casinos to rack up credit card awards, and how to have a more significant edge in online gaming, leveraging these credit card awards. We're also going to talk a little bit how poker players can get the most out of casino loyalty. We're going to have a number of panels also, and we're going to be, two of our deep dives are going to be American Airlines, your favorite airline, and Hyatt. So, I mean, I think we have a decent amount of, we're going to have a keys to maximizing American Airlines. We're also going to have a World of Hyatt masterclass as part of our extreme in-depth.
Who's hosting that?
That is going to be Ben and Jamie.
Really?
Who are very big Hyatt people. So that should be sort of interesting.
Maybe they can talk about that crappy credit card they just dropped this week.
Yeah, the business card. I saw you were talking about that.
Yeah. But it definitely is a place to go. Go to Zorkfest with a Z.com, and you can read all about the event in December. I'm looking forward to it very much. It'll be a part of my 50th birthday celebration. We're going to be in Europe, and we're coming straight over to hang out in Vegas with Michael and his friends, and it should be a good conference. So, and we've got an offer. If you are an FTU follower, you'll get an email about this special offer for buying tickets there. It'll come out in the next on Tuesday. It'll come out. So check your inboxes for that. And as always, Michael, thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week or in 2 weeks.
Yeah, it was a pleasure.
Cheers.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. So now we have come to this week's Miles and Points. What do we call it? We call it the News in Review. And we've got Matthew Clint pinch hitting for pizza today, who is on a flight. Thanks so much for joining us, Matthew. And you're coming in from Wisconsin.
I am. I'm in Green Lake for the weekend. Beautiful here.
What is that all about?
That is a tradition that goes back 10 years now. I get together with a group of guys I used to work with at Star Alliance in Frankfurt, and we hang out here. So it's a great weekend.
Do I know anybody?
No, offline I'll tell you who I'm with.
All right.
I don't think so.
There you go. Well, speaking of Star Alliance, then we got Marshall coming in from DC again, from his deck out there. What were you talking about?
From our nation's capital, sitting outside.
You had one job, you stupid national. I blame your stinkeroo baseball team for the Yankees not going to the World Series this year.
I'm sorry. I can't help it. The GM Rizzo lives 5 doors down from me.
Yeah.
I'm going to complain to him for you.
Yeah. We'll go over next time when I come over there for the December 2nd event. Let's get drunk and then we'll go over and have a chat with him. How's that
We
sound?
will.
All right,
Let's do that. Absolutely.
So for you, Matthew, who are not familiar with the segment, we found things that we find interesting on the internet, and if there are some breaking things, and we've already beaten that dead Hyatt horse to death already, but with the new card. But you broke a story today, which is kind of interesting, which is Lufthansa is going to stop serving Fernet Branca and other liquors in economy class to achieve greater customer satisfaction. That's something that you guys, I'm sure you can talk about this weekend, right?
Ironic, isn't it? Right? That and it's not just economy class; it's premium economy too.
What?
Lufthansa figures that for our benefit, to increase customer satisfaction, hard liquor, spirits are now going to cost money. As a concession, we're still going to get beer and wine on a complimentary basis. But this is part of their surprise and delight program, and it seems to be working very well.
I was not aware. To be honest with you, that with premium economies, which cost 3 up to 4, maybe 5 times, like right now, it's premium economy goes for like 1,500 round trip, at least.
At least, yeah.
That sounds to me like a pretty crazy move to go into premium economy. Is that maybe it's so? Even Norwegian, when they had long haul, was giving you free booze in premium,
and they justify it on the basis that they're now going to offer fresh snacks for purchase on board between meals. So they're going to take away your free drinks so that they can sell you drinks and snacks. Great logic, isn't it?
Good Lord Almighty. So, and who said this? Is this a press release or is it anybody we know or?
Yeah, this was actually the source was Oliver over on Flyer Talk.
Really?
And yeah, I mean, I wasn't the one who broke the story. It was Ben, but 1 mile at a time. But I had to write about it because it strikes me as the typical Lufthansa arrogance, right? I have this two-edged sword relationship. I love Lufthansa. I love flying them. I think their first class is one of the best in the world. But when it comes to their other cabins, especially economy these days, I mean, when you're behind United and American, that's really saying something, isn't it?
Yeah, because they used to charge both of them, and now kind of they've quite a few years ago, or like maybe 7-8 years ago, the trend was to bring back service, to start serving things in economy on long haul. And I just booked some intra-European Lufthansa flights now, and I'll have my first where you don't get anything for free in coach anymore.
Right. Well, you'll still get a small water bottle, but
right.
Everything else you'll pay for.
Right. Interesting. Marshall, what have you seen out here today, this week? What's interesting?
I'll tell you my favorite thing is to learn that the cuisine is so fabulous in Philadelphia at the airport that they're now offering curbside takeaway.
Very
Seriously?
Nice. Absolutely.
Wow.
Let's see, Tommy. It's on Gary's blog.
Gary's blog. He's getting too much. He's covered a couple of other subjects we were going to talk about today. Let's find it.
I know.
What he's
I lived in Philadelphia for
late.
3 years, and I mean, the only thing I remember about Philadelphia International Airport was the rat infestation and the frequent Chipotle shutdowns due to various health concerns. So it's a very surprising story.
This will surprise a lot of people, but I'm a ex-U.S. Airways Chairman's Preferred flyer, and I loved being Chairman's Preferred at U.S. Airways, but I never loved Philadelphia.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like an airport where you stick around very long.
But I can't fathom any. And granted, the airport has improved a bit since those days, but I can't fathom anything being so fabulous at Philadelphia International that I need to roll up curbside to pick up a to-go order.
So it's not exactly there you are if you're Center City.
Wait a minute, what restaurants are we talking about here?
Take a look.
Are we sure? Is this just a joke?
No, it's not a joke. That's why I thought we needed to talk about it. I have to put
Right.
on my readers, Tommy, so I can see this.
You want to read? I don't see any links in here. I see you have to have the app. It's integrated into the priority
Because,
app.
because it's so great that you need an app to order that and enjoy your trip through traffic to Philadelphia International to pick up your food.
Right, or take the SEPTA and pay $10 each way.
There you have it.
Absolutely.
Right. All right. So there's a lot of interesting story. So Gary, he loves these scandals and all that stuff. And there was a couple of interesting things today. It seems like for the first time in world history, I'm on the same page as Candace Owens. That's not bad, is it? That's the first time that's ever happened, isn't it? So we have this this story that broke today that or a couple of days yesterday it came out that there's Twitter storms. This is celebrity number one that is bitching and moaning about something. So she obviously had a trip booked to Europe, and for those who don't know who she is, how do we categorize her?
Conservative pundit,
Right.
Daily Wire contributor.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm being polite.
Yeah. So right wing blogger, whatever, something like that, with political aspirations and that kind of stuff. She was flying from Nashville to London, and the route has been canceled, and they didn't give her a refund they gave her a credit instead of when they canceled her flight, which seems to be par for the course right now. I'm sure they rebooked her or whatnot, but she said $5,000, but what she didn't disclose, which came down the story a little bit later, is that it's multiple people in her family that was on this booking, so it was probably a little bit less. So she responded to somebody said first class problems. First class would have been $24,000, but I don't know. It's interesting to see that she likes American Airlines just as much as I do. And then we've got a guy that more people seem to, I wouldn't call him one of my favorite guys, but I think he's a funny guy who also went kind of a little bit nuts with his Twitter feed here with Trevor Noah. And Trevor is, it's a South African guy. It's on Comedy Central, and he went ballistic here about his seat being broken. Seems very out of character, very, very angry. That seems like he needs to watch his own show maybe or something. I don't know.
I guess what I didn't understand about that story, and I still don't understand, is he accused United of overselling flights, which it does, which airlines do. Most airlines do. JetBlue doesn't. But then he seemed to blame the problem on the broken seat, right? And it wasn't ultimately clear. I mean, was the flight, quote, oversold because of the broken seats? Was there both? What was going on? He never really, and even if you read through the hundreds of comments, it still isn't clear what exactly happened. And United's not commenting either, so it just remains a mystery. If the angry man yelling about something that...
I think this is the only thing that's missing here. I'll never fly this airline again. That's the only thing that's kind of missing.
Until it's $5 cheaper.
And you only after you pay, they told you they actually don't have food, so your only option is to lick the fries that fell on the floor.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't get that analogy either, but then again, I mean, I don't have a TV, so I've never really watched Trevor Noah, so I don't know, maybe this went over my head.
Klepper is Jordan Klepper, his correspondent. He is freaking hilarious, and it's a decent show. It's and he gets a lot of big names to come on too. I mean, he's got Obama a couple of times. He's got Bill Clinton. He's got, all of those guys.
Is that by his own right, or is that on the coattails of Jon Stewart?
He has these guys on the show. It's on a regular basis. It's a pretty decent thing, but it's kind of a little bit. This is like a typical overreaction that should probably that's not going to accomplish anything, and it's also just seems like he's not traveling that much.
Yeah,
and and planes, stuff on planes, they break, and it seems like he was. There's a lot of this going around right these days, but those are
he was upset.
He was upset, right? I think we got that. Yeah, absolutely. So what else have we seen in the last couple of weeks that have been interesting? We talked about the Hyatt credit card. We talked about Lufthansa taking away our booze. We've talked about travel demand across the Atlantic coming back. That Lufthansa has seen 7 times the bookings since the border. It was announced that the borders opened. We saw that. What else? And we saw Philadelphia Airport and their food. What else have we seen in the last week or 2 weeks that are interesting to us?
Well, it's interesting that the vaccine issue, the different approaches airlines have taken. Maybe you've discussed this already, but
we haven't talked about vaccines today.
Let's not get into the politics of it, but just very interesting that United jumped out really early on. They made it a mandate. They forced everyone to do it. They had pretty good success. About 2,000 employees applied for exemptions. That's 3%. And then they had they're down to less than 200 people who didn't apply for an exemption and didn't comply. And so, whether it was justified or not, it worked. Almost 99% of employees are vaccinated. Meanwhile, Delta, even though this Biden mandate hasn't been officially promulgated by OSHA, right? And so we don't know the exact language, right? It's pretty clear that airlines are considered contractors, and American, JetBlue, Alaska, they've all said, okay, guys, you got to get vaccinated now. But Delta's still saying, not so fast, not so fast. We're still studying the issue. And it's just interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see how the public responds. Is there an appetite? Will people gravitate to airlines that have a vaccine mandate? Or will people gravitate towards Delta? Seems to be working out PR-wise for United thus far.
Delta reported that they have over 85% who have voluntarily vaccinated there. So it seems like the success rate is pretty high regardless.
Yeah.
So then you can talk about the effectiveness of this stuff. And it's a lot of noise. There's a lot of noise here in California about massive mandates now. We saw San Jose now. They're firing a ton of people from their city employees coming up in the next couple of things. It's a little bit strange to read all about this, and it kind of consumes a lot of and creates a lot of separation.
Drama.
See that I live in the rural area outside of Sacramento, so I'm close. I'm like half an hour from the city. But the next town over is a farm town from where I am. I can drive to like unlimited farms in minutes from here, and people don't like each other as much anymore. It used to be very peaceful around here. It's not so much anymore. It's kind of weird. But
anyway. One of the most interesting things to me, Tommy, is like United got out front, and they basically got it done.
Right.
And
they have 98% now?
Yeah, 98% or something like that. But, American kind of put it off for a while, and Delta took their own little route with it. But there are employees protesting in front of American headquarters today, and I don't think that happened at United.
Mm-hmm.
No.
98% of Americans, United's employees, and then Southwest also put a mandate into effect this week, right?
Correct.
Yep.
And also I heard that you, Matthew, your business, you're facing some personnel issues now. That your star blogger, in addition to yourself, is thinking about leaving.
Oh yes. Well, you'll have to talk to Kyle about that. But he's just applied for the COO position at Icelandair, and I wish him all the best. I think he's highly qualified, and
Right.
I would hate to lose him to that, but well, maybe he'd give me a pass to ride Icelandair if he got the job.
Yeah, so you're gonna have to fly, domestic style first class with a footrest on your way to Europe. I mean,
But I will say that the catering in their premium economy, that's what I call their business,
Right.
is pretty darn good.
I have no issues. I bought a. Melinda and I we had a meeting in New York. We were in Iceland. I had a meeting there, and we had a ticket booked in when they used to block middle seats. They had a product a few years back where they had sort of a premium economy behind their, which is premium economy, their business or domestic, like it's domestic. It's a better domestic first thing. And their flights are really not that long. So it's not really that bad, but it was like from Keflavik to JFK, it was like 5 hours, if that. So it's not any longer for me to get to JFK than it is from here, from California. So, and we have that from there. We were going to have a meeting, and then we were going to fly Cathay to Vancouver from JFK. But their flight canceled. There were some technical issues and whatnot. So we ended up flying with them in that first class directly to Portland instead of going to JFK and then to Vancouver the next day, and doing that instead. And I was surprised. The catering was good. It was, the seats were comfortable. The flights are fast, and it's not a bad place to stop on your way. I mean, I'd rather connect a million times in Keflavik before I connect in Heathrow.
For sure. Yeah.
So it's obviously that's a gig, but I was just talking to Frank, who is the guy who is working on. Frank is a German guy who is responsible for their loyalty program. I talked to him here the other day, and they're making some big changes to loyalty right now. And obviously, Iceland has been are making moves. Like Finnair just made some serious moves in the last few weeks. They've opened up a base in Stockholm.
Yeah.
And they have opened up like 6-7 routes from there. And I think that they're doing LA to Stockholm now.
They are.
Wing to wing against SAS, which is kind of surprising. And actually, they moved, SAS moved the Stockholm route to Copenhagen. So it ended that story. But that's an interesting move. And I think Icelandair is also going to make some moves now. But it's 737 Maxes that are their airplanes, right? They don't have, they don't have any 350s or anything fun because of they plan their routes based on their location in the middle of the Atlantic, right? So what's he going to do? I mean, what did the article say? What is his ideas? What are the ideas that he has? How is he going to be the COO of Icelandair? What's he going to do? Let's see. Why he applied. He doesn't meet the qualifications. Let's see. Does he have any love for Icelandair that we don't know about, or?
Well, he loves Iceland. His family loves Iceland.
Well, what's not to like? I mean, their airport. I mean, that actually worked itself out pretty well. Their airport is way too small for the amount of flights that they have, and it's chaos at the peak hours of the day for sure.
Is. Yeah,
but that kind of worked as WoW Air was kind of the reason because of that. That's not the case anymore. So now that worked itself out a little bit. But at the end of the day, hopefully we'll see. We'll follow the story and see what happens with Kyle and see if he's going to move to Iceland. It's kind of a different place to live. There's 250,000 people on the whole big ass island, and it's that's a substantial. That's not a lot of people actually. So, and we talked a couple of weeks ago, Matthew. We talked about Play, which is the new WoW Air. What do you think they're going to do? So they're coming summer of next year. We're going to see U.S. routes.
I mean, I'm excited. I'm excited also about Norwegian's successor, but I must admit I'm not very optimistic about the long-term prospects for either carrier.
I've had some conversations with the management there of Norse Atlantic. I don't know anything about play. I just look at the management and who the investors are and how much money they have and things like that. And it's literally WowAir, right? It's the whole thing is WowAir, and to me it feels like that story is not going to be long, but we not to repeat ourselves from our last show, I think that Ontario, Stewart are kind of a little bit, especially when you're going to have 352 people every single day that you've got to fill the seats every time. And, getting to Stewart is a pain in the ass. And if you're going to the beach, going to Ontario is a pain in the ass. So it's, I don't know. It's we'll wait and see. The investors that Norse Atlantic had, they had the public offering, and the day of the public offering, the public was fully signed in less than 2 hours. So it was pretty fast. And I guess there are a lot of people that still has a lot of money that they want to spend on starting up that. And we'll see. We'll wish them. It's great for the consumers, great for the prices. And also to have alternatives to buy one-way tickets on day flights and premium. It works fine for me.
Yep.
And I think that's the best takeaway from that story.
Agreed.
All right.
Absolutely.
I think we've covered a lot of ground today, and I'm happy that you took time, Matthew, to come along and enjoy your weekend. And up in Wisconsin, bring back some nice cheese here to California. And Marshall, thanks for dialing in again. And
You bet.
And we'll make sure that we head over to your neighbor there and wake him up the next time I'm in DC.
We'll do that.
All right. Then thanks, guys, for coming. And thanks for joining us again this week for asking the questions and for being engaged. The FTU online is back again on November the 13th, where we've got a full day planned with some exciting speakers. If you haven't gotten your annual membership, feel free to get that. It's $69. You get access to all of the online sessions we have, and also a $50 voucher for future FTUs as well. You just go to ftuniversity.com to do that. So thank you all for joining us today, and I'll see you guys in a couple of weeks. Thank you.